there's a whole story. There's more to it. Like one day I was in my garage and I realized I was enjoying my time organizing more than having to do my corporate job. And it hit me. I'm like, I'm sitting here in my garage. It's hot because it was July and there were cobwebs around me. There were bees around me. There were mosquitoes flying around. And I would have rather chosen that spot than to go and sit in my cute little cushy chair and just sit on a conference call.
Interesting.
And that was a moment where I'm like, this is passion. This is what will keep me going. The moment the client signs on to agree that, hey, I want to bring you in to do this project, that's when I start feeling that, because I realize that's commitment to make a change. And I know that I'm going to bring that change. So that gets me very excited, because I know we're opening up this new portal of almost like this different lifestyle mindset, like living organized and putting things back and having better systems and living within our means and not overconsumption. I mean, that's the whole point of why we need to think about hiring a professional organizer to help us, because we don't have time to manage every single thought, every single item, every single inventory that comes into our house. My clients say that all the time. They'll say, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, you're not embarrassed when you go to the dentist, right? You're with a professional. Know that this is so normal. And if it was embarrassing, I wouldn't be here because I couldn't take it. This is just being honest with yourself. And I want to be there for those clients to help them. Like, this is a good thing that you're doing. Yeah, so I'll remind them, like, okay, if you go to the gym, right, you want to feel better. You have to go to the gym consistently. Right. It's not something that's going to happen one day and then you're going to feel good and be healthy. You can't build up a six-pack and then stop and think it's going to be there forever.
I feel like I'm talking to LeVar now. LeVar's, he's always getting on me. He's you got to get to the gym. You see him, he's in pretty good shape. You are listening to the Dream is Real podcast. This is the place you want to be if you want to buy, sell, or build wealth through New York real estate. My name is JD Ambrosio, and I am your host, part of the Dream Select Realty team. And as always, we bring you local leaders connected to the real estate profession. With me is Tina Patel, right? Tina, right. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Well, you have an awesome profession that I think is needed, very much so. We'll delve into that. What's the name of your company?
So I launched a professional organizing business called Spaced by T.
Spaced by T. Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your journey and what it means to be a professional organizer.
So, the title professional organizer is one where you can get a certification for it, but it really isn't required because it's not, there's no standard on that. But I will say that the passion that you have to bring for it is you have to want to do it. And if you can't get a certification to say that you're organized, but you don't love doing it, you're not going to be able to set up and pass on that motivation to your clients to remind them they need to change their habits.
Right. My garage is proof positive of the lack of motivation, the other side of the coin. So is that something that you've always had a knack for?
Yes, that's a really good question. So honestly, growing up, I did grow up in America. I was the first one in my entire family to be born in the States. My parents and older siblings migrated here from India. So I think they had a little bit of that maybe cultural difference where and especially more with my mom and maybe some of her siblings and my grandparents, they like to hold on to things. And also the thought of holding on to things was because, we'll give it to someone else in the future when someone else needs it. And so I grew up around that type of clutter, and I grew up with a lot of people around me moving things, and that very much frustrated me. I always liked structural order. And then, to be honest, I started out my career in finance. I used to be an auditor, so I definitely love systems and controls. And my auditing career, I fell into recruitment and talent acquisition. And then my talent acquisition career was staffing, relationship management, and solving any problem that the client had. If the client had any issue with a nurse didn't pass their background check, or someone couldn't get into the parking lot, or any issue, or I just felt like I was always trafficking them and solutioning them. And I thought, there's a whole story, there's more to it. Like one day I was in my garage and I realized I was enjoying my time organizing more than having to do my corporate job. And it hit me. I'm like, I'm sitting here in my garage. It's hot because it was July and there were cobwebs around me. There were bees around me. There were mosquitoes flying around, and I would have rather chosen that spot than to go and sit in my cute little cushy chair and just sit on a conference call.
Interesting.
And that was a moment where I'm like, this is passion. This is what will keep me going. And
Well, I think it's safe to say that when you take on a project of organizing, straightening up, that the end is extremely rewarding. When you take a step back and look at what you accomplished, is that something that you feel is true for you with all the projects that you work on?
yes. And honestly, the moment the client signs on to agree that, hey, I want to bring you in to do this project, that's when I start feeling that, because I realize that's commitment to make a change. And I know that I'm going to bring that change. So that gets me very excited, because I know we're opening up this new portal of almost like this different lifestyle mindset, like living organized and putting things back and having better systems and living within our means and not overconsumption. I mean, that's the whole point of why we need to think about hiring a professional organizer to help us, because we don't have time to manage every single thought, every single item, every single inventory that comes into our house.
Right. So it's more than simply completing a project. It's really establishing a system for them to continue going
Correct.
forward. So tell me, what types of projects do you specialize in?
At this time, I am still open. I'm taking on any client that comes to me. There hasn't been any project that I've declined or said no to, but typically the projects that I've been approached with are mostly like for home organization, office organization, garage organization, attics, moving projects. When I say moving projects, it's clients that are looking to sell their homes and they need help getting their home set up and photo ready for market, or they need help packing up because they are moving and they can't handle the packing. They don't have the time to do it. Another situation is when I do move-in projects. When a client is moving from one house and moving into a new house, I kind of take over that whole move management for them.
New space, new dimensions, same stuff in a lot of cases. How do I take what I had over here and make it fit over here?
Exactly. And then sometimes, I mean, it's new families, evolving families. Like, I'm a mother myself, so I understand how our lives are going to change rapidly every like 6 to 9 months, especially when our kids are younger. So I have really great creative solutions on how growing families or maybe blended families have ways to store their things that are like that are economical and sustainable, and it's not going to make you keep buying expensive things every single year.
Got it. So, but it sounds like you're not coming in and saying you got to throw all this stuff out.
No.
Or because I think that's a lot of times the anxiety, right? Especially for those. I grew up in a family as well where we like to hold on to things. My wife is different. Once we're done with it, we're done with it. But when you take on projects, and it sounds like you're willing to take on a lot, but let's talk about the projects where there's a buyer or a seller, or even in the case of a real estate investor that's going into a place and needs to stage. What are the first things to look at? Because I guess what I'm getting at here is it can be overwhelming to look at every room of the house and where do I start? And I think sometimes that could be prohibitive to even getting a real estate transaction started. I'll stay here just because I don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. Where should somebody start if they're looking at their house and they're just kind of throwing their hands up?
I would say if you are able to bring in a professional organizer, that is a great idea, because then that could do that for you. But if
is that because every house is a little bit different?
Yes, every project's different, every client's different. And even everyone's situation in life is different. So there's not one set system that I follow. But I would say if you are you're looking to sell your home, get it photo ready, you need to simplify the space, because when sellers are coming in, they don't want to see your family pictures on the wall. They need to imagine themselves into that house.
Nick Cesarini, Weatherstone Mortgage is proud to partner with Dream Select Realty. We understand in this environment how hard it is to find the right home. You really need the right realtor and the right financial tools to be able to make that dream come true. Please reach out to either Dream Select Realty or Weatherstone Mortgage to start the process of that dream.
So those are some tips I would say to clients. Like, if you're trying to stage and you don't want to bring me in, but I can give you some tips. Like, I always say, try to minimize any family personal photos. Eliminate too many colors. Eliminate, like a lot of things that are too seasonal, because all of that is distracting to a client. You just want to make it much more simpler and aesthetically pleasing for them. If it looks lived in, they have a hard time seeing themselves in that home. And I think that's what sellers maybe don't realize.
Why do you think that is?
When the home looks lived in, they're seeing the previous owner's life around them. They're not seeing the potential. Like, if they're seeing the seller's like sports gear and coats all over and shoes out. I mean, it doesn't give that new seller that idea of like, is this my home? Or, so I think it's really important when you get those homes staged, you give the feel that it feels like it could be anyone's home, almost like an Airbnb type.
Right. And I think that's part of the difficulty, right? Is because I've lived in this home for 25 years. We've had our family holidays here. We've had Thanksgiving dinners here. But in the selling process, you really need for the environment to be somewhat of a clean palette so somebody can come in and you've got your memories, right? They're going to make the decision based upon what they see as their future memories. And all that can come in a flash. And I think someone like you can come in and help them to at least set the stage for that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, something I do say is that when it comes to the home, it's not really the history that's important. It's like people are looking at the future when they're buying their home. So it doesn't matter what was done in that. Like, okay, new chapter, like they want to make their own memories now. So
Right.
it's like a whole new world.
Tell me about some of the most challenging projects that you've taken on.
Okay, so I typically, when I work with clients, we have a consult because I like to make sure we're a fit together because I don't want to work with someone who I don't think is going to receive my services well.
Has that ever happened where you take on a project and you just seem at odds with?
Yes. Yes. So, okay. So with Space by T, I do sell gift certificates, which is great. So if someone has, someone wants to buy their aunt 4 hours of free time, they buy a gift certificate from Space by T and I can go over and take care of said aunt's house and organize a little space for 4 hours. That is the situation that happened. So this was a client that I ended up having scheduled without me doing any sort of intake or talking to them. You cannot organize clutter, is what I say. So if you have a cabinet that holds, 10 plates, you can't stuff 200 plates in it.
Right.
We have to eliminate something.
And that's a lot of our spaces are actually not at capacity, probably beyond capacity.
Yes.
So,
And I think what people really have a hard time with is that the decision-making process. Because they're like, what do I do with all this stuff? Well, we need to decide. Are we going to keep, trash, donate, or sell? That's it. Let's decide.
keep,
trash, donate,
sell.
or sell.
Got it. That's
My thing. I spit that out all the time. And when I work with clients, I'll pull out all their stuff. And then I'm like, all right, you go, do your thing, do whatever you need to do. I'll call you when it's time to make decisions. That's what I say. And then, like an hour, whatever it might pass. And they come back and they're floored by how much stuff they have. I mean, people don't realize how many things. Like I find 12 dog collars in some people's closets and they only have one dog. So it's just those things that you just buy over and over because you can't find it, but it's like cheap enough where you could buy another one, don't have time to look for it.
it's disposable, yet you never have disposed of it.
Yes, exactly.
I could totally see that. So let's talk about some individual projects that we have the one. And actually, I'm going to back up for a second. I think that is such an interesting concept of the gift certificate, right? How I'm just trying to think of how you present that to somebody. You walk into somebody's house, it's a complete mess.
It was She is not someone, I don't think she would not have bought the hours herself. Somebody gifted it to her. I walked into the house and then I asked her, what are her pain points? Because the house was really very overly cluttered.
She didn't know you were coming, though.
She did know I was coming. Yes. Because it has to be scheduled. And I do have that. Like, I can't just pop in and visit, like, surprise.
Hey, here to help you clean your house. Yeah, well, not even clean, to organize your house.
I'm here to go through all of your stuff and judge you for why you hold on to things. Just kidding. There's no judgment at all.
Fair enough.
And that is something my clients say that all the time. They'll say, I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, you're not embarrassed when you go to the dentist, right? You're with a professional. Know that this is so normal. And if it was embarrassing, I wouldn't be here because I couldn't take it. This is just being honest with yourself. And I want to be there for those clients to help them. Like, this is a good thing that you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's so key because a lot of times our own messes, they're ours, right? And then when a light gets shined on maybe an area that we know, and most of the time we know we have to do something about it. So when it gets there could be some anxieties there. What do you do maybe initially in the initial consultation or day one to mitigate some of that anxiety?
I remind clients about how organization is tied back to their health. So I'll remind them, like, okay, if you go to the gym, right, you want to feel better. You have to go to the gym consistently.
Right.
It's not something that's going to happen one day and then you're going to feel good and be healthy. You can't build up a six pack and then stop and think it's going to be there forever.
I feel like I'm talking to LeVar now. LeVar's, he's always getting on me. He's you got to get to the gym. You see him, he's in pretty good shape.
Hi, my name is Tyrone. I'm the owner and trainer here at Fly Fitness. We work with children of all ages, sports-specific training, soccer, basketball, lacrosse, football, you name it, we do it here. We also work with the beginner, the person that has never been in the gym before. We get you from point A, point B, and we take you through the alphabet of training. We also do rehab, ankles, back, knees, shoulders. The older we get, the more fragile we are. So those things that I just mentioned, those are things that we're definitely going to need help with. That's what we specialize in here at Fly Fitness. Come and join us.
I'm a fitness enthusiast. So I used to teach Pilates and aerobics for 13 years while I worked in corporate. So I've always had this side passion for fitness, but I also tie that to how organization
Isn't it funny how a lot of the same habits will cross over into so many areas of your life?
Yes, and it's all accountability, and it's commitment, and it's what's the word I'm thinking of? Habit changes. You know, like if you want to have a good body, you have to change the way you eat. You have to change how you exercise your body, and you know what I mean? And that's what I say to clients who are like, I don't know where to start. Well, it's the same thing. If you don't know where to start on a workout, what do? At least get up and walk for 5 minutes. So why don't we just start with this? And honestly, that's why I named my business Spaced by T, because I wanted my clients to realize it does not have to be overwhelming. Let's start with a space. Let's start with a junk drawer. And then let's move over to another corner. And that is always so much easier for clients than me going in and maybe saying, okay, I'm going to focus on this space for 1 hour. I am really good at being able to understand where the client is and how to approach it. But I do always say, let's just start with baby steps. What doesn't belong here? What immediately do we look around and say is garbage?
Right.
So it's such baby steps.
So take the low-hanging fruit, right?
Yes.
But we know.
And it feels better the more you do it. They see the garbage removed. Oh, and I'm like, okay.
This plastic bag full of plastic bags full of,
Right, or what about the Costco haul? Why is all the Costco chips, right? You know, when we all go to Costco, we buy like so much.
Right.
Those clients, those types of things. And I get it because it's like you go to Costco, that's a 3-hour ordeal buying stuff. Then hauling all the stuff into your house. Costco doesn't give you bags. So you're like using their boxes. And then you have to go and you're like, I have to make dinner. I have to get to this activity. I have to do this. So it's a lot. And families just don't have the time to keep up with all that stuff.
So back to the real estate side of things, it sounds like somebody with your skills and talents and abilities would be a good fit, not only for, post move, but pre, right? So it's a matter of, moving items from here to here. Give me a sense of, you walk into a house that's being sold. What are some of the what are some of the things that you look at first, and in terms of packing and organizing, maybe even with planning ahead of making the installment at the new location a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Yes, I absolutely do that. I'm actually doing that right now with a client who's moving out of one home into another home in Manhasset, and really we're just doing everything by urgency. I'm like, what do you need to use within the next 2 weeks? And then that's the stuff we're going to keep aside, and everything else gets packed up. So it's kind of like, okay, we're not going to use the summer stuff. Let's get that over there. So we got all of that done. So it's just taking things like piece by piece. And even when I'm doing paper organization, it's just going through what's priority right now? Like what has a deadline?
That's something that builds up tremendously.
Yeah. So when you have a pile of papers, you're like, I don't know what to do with all of this. Pick out the ones that you have to pay within the next 5 days. And at least you got that covered. And then get to the next month, So it's just kind of chipping away. And again, it goes back to almost fitness. It's like everyone would benefit from a personal trainer. And I just feel like it's the same thing with a professional organizer. We hold you accountable. We keep you on track. And we actually end up doing the work for you. It's not like you're doing the moving and stuff. We're coming with the ideas. We're bringing the products. We're doing the measurements.
Do you work with individuals and families like ongoing as part of an ongoing retainer? You sound to me, again, a lot of physical fitness references here. You sound like a personal trainer in a lot of ways.
I'm like the puniest personal trainer then.
But in the way of organizing, right? Because I think it's probably just like it's easy, you lose some weight, you start eating some cookies again, and then before you know, it's almost like you have to start over again. Do you work with people ongoing in that manner?
Yes, okay. Absolutely. There are a lot of busy families out there where both of the mother and father are professionals and they have really full lives. And when they work, they want to enjoy time going to dinner and doing vacations. So they don't want to unpack all that Costco stuff. So, or like even just, switching out seasonal clothes and clearing out. I'm helping a client pull out all of her Christmas decorations and put away all her fall stuff. So there are clients that are bringing me in for repeat, just to like, okay, we're done this season. Can you come back and help us pull this stuff out? The other thing is they do bring me in because when I move clients in, I know where all their stuff is. So a lot of times they forget. So they're like, do you know where this is? I get text all the time. Like, where's my dad's silver sword from World War II? And I'll be like, it's in the middle closet on the second shelf. Like,
no way.
Yes, I don't know how I remember this stuff, but I do. And I remember my sister telling me that I had a client ask me, she's like, hey, where did you put all the dead smoke detector lids? And I knew where it was.
The dead smoke detector
Yeah,
lids?
they had kept the plastic smoke detector covers. So I just like put them in a space. But it's just.
So that didn't go into the trash?
It should have, but
got it.
I don't know if they had sentimental value. She had lost her husband.
Oh,
there were some things, I kept. Yeah, there's some things,
When do you know that you've hit the point of like, okay, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you push, but where you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to shift to plan B. This is not getting thrown out.
So when I talk to a client, because I will encourage them with certain things, like with vases, glass vases, we all get flowers, and then like when we get flowers delivered to our houses, we get these glass vases and then everyone just sticks them in the cabinet above the fridge, but we never reuse them because we don't really buy flowers that big for us. Like we have like such smaller ones. So that's something when I see a client, I'm pulling out all the things. I'm like, all right, you have 16 vases. Do we need all 16? And that's when they're like, okay, I guess not. And then I remind them, I said, if you're not using it, there's a family out there that is dreaming about this, that can't afford this. And for you, you're just sitting here unused. So like, why not repurpose it? Why not put it back into the universe to help somebody? It's doing nothing here.
Right.
And I feel like this is the kind of reminders people need to realize there's a different realm. Like there's this energy that we're putting out. And so with these things that we hold on to, the more we're holding on to things that we don't need, it's gonna block us from the things that we could get more of, like that could like help elevate us.
Right.
And so I really am a big believer in like, if something's not serving you, you should let it go and it'll help someone else because someone else probably needs it.
To your point, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in need right now. So let's talk a little bit about selling your items and donating your items, starting with the selling part. What are some of your favorite platforms, avenues to be able to sell some of the items that you have?
So here's the thing. I actually don't personally sell the items for my clients. So if a client says they don't want to trash it, they don't want to keep it, and they don't want to donate it either.
Trash, keep, sell, donate, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So if they're like, they don't want to throw it away, but they don't want to give it away and they feel like they can get money for it, then I set aside a place. I'm like, okay, potential for resale. And we make the little section. And then it's sectioned off there. And then I will follow up with the client. I don't personally sell it because I don't do those services.
Right. Unless
Unless the client's like, hey, can you help me? I will, I guess. But it's not usually what I'm asked to do. Usually I feel like my services are more with like the organizing, the systems. But I check in with the clients and follow up. Did you get rid of that stuff? Did you schedule your donation pickup? Or sometimes I'll schedule the donation pickup for the client so I know it's happening. Did that answer the question?
No,
I think I kind of got lost with okay.
So what I was asking was if there were any platforms that you could recommend to sell. I know Facebook Marketplace is one that a lot of people go to, and you can find some really good stuff on there. Any other avenues that you see, even if you don't recommend them, that you see trending with?
I would say,
clients?
yeah, I know people use eBay. I don't know eBay that well. Facebook Market really is what I use the most too, if I'm trying to resell some of my stuff. Those really have been the best for me.
What about the donation side? Are there any local here to Long Island, organizations that you feel are good to consider when donating items?
Yes, absolutely. Honestly, any charity that is taking donations, I don't think anyone needs to really justify why they need donations. All of them are great because they're doing a huge service. But I would say some of them that are more convenient are the ones that come to your house and pick up the donations from your door, like United Breast Cancer, Vets. I think there's another one. There's they have the mailers. But I love the ones that come to the house because you schedule it and it holds you accountable because they're going to show up and take that stuff and then they leave the receipt. The other thing I do want to remind people is that it's that season where, people are hungry all year long, but if you have food in your pantry that you're not eating, it's a good time to get rid of it and donate to food pantries, because right now families are needing extra food, and if it's not serving you, then it could go to someone else. So I think it's really important for me to remind people, just urge them to check out your pantry, spend 10 minutes seeing what's in there, and if there's stuff in there that you're not going to eat, donate it to a local food charity.
I think that is just so powerful. I mean, even for those who are listening that are thinking about selling their homes, what happens is you're in a frantic, you're just at a frantic time, because let's be honest, you're moving, right? That's never it's never as smooth as you would like it. And then what happens is you look at your pantry and it's like, let's just throw this stuff out. Exactly. And you're right, it could have so much more of an impact going to, and there's an endless list of local pantries here on Long Island. And if you're listening outside of Long Island, wherever you are as well. So no, that's really, really awesome. Any other advice that you would give to either homeowners, sellers, even investors on the real estate side?
Yeah, what I would say is, if you are struggling with keeping yourself organized, outsource it to a professional organizer and make sure it's someone that you're comfortable working with. And I would also say, I think people sometimes get sticker shock. There's a reason for it, but you're entrusting a professional. And I think that people need to realize, if you're in real estate, you're in investing, your gift is in real estate and in investing, not in organizing. Right. So let the people with the gifts take care of what they want to do, and you focus on what you need to do. And I think that's going to help everyone perform and show up better.
Awesome. I think that's great advice. If our audience wants to find you, hire you, get you to help them organize their life, where can they go? Oh,
so many places you guys can find me. I have a website, www.spacedbyt.com. I'm also on Instagram, spaced_by_t_. But if you just type Spaced by T, it'll show up. I'm on TikTok as The Funny Organizer. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I would love to connect and help anyone.
Awesome. Well, thank you for listening and tuning in to the Dream is Real podcast. If you want to keep up with us, visit us at our website. That's dreamselectrealty.com. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at dreamselectrealty, or check us out on X at dreamselecthome. We'll see you next time as we continue to bring you the best insights for New York real estate. And remember, the dream is real.
Thank you so much.